Hey, I'm Nixie Pixel and you're watching OSAlt, your source for open source. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit with this episode and let me know if you like the topic of what I'm going for here, but it's just Linux news, kind of like this week in Linux. And there's trouble in paradise. There's been some drama happening in the Linux community, and if you wait a little bit, you'll find out what. Brought to you by Audible. You're probably well aware by now that Ubuntu 12.10 Quetzal came out earlier in October, and this randomly appearing video clip that you're seeing right now is my overview of some of the features of the latest release, but there was something super weird that happened with the upgrade, and all of a sudden, I'm turning into a consumer. And I'm already a consumer by all the tech things, but I didn't really expect it to be forced upon me by Canonical. I'm checking out a search in Dash and then all of a sudden I'm seeing Amazon. This is the random product that Ubuntu says you should buy. Apparently it didn't just throw me off guard. I kind of have a fundamental issue when companies try to shove something down your throat, even if the service is free. It's just kind of, I don't know. If I wanted it, I would get it. So if I don't want it, I want the ability to shut it off. And Canonical didn't actually have the kill switch or the feature to turn off the Amazon annoying advertisements, essentially. And yeah, okay, they're not really ads per se, but more like affiliate revenue, so anytime you go through the search, they get kind of a kickback or a commission on it. So, I don't know. I was really surprised to see that. I think they've had some issues in the past trying to get Yahoo to have something happen with that, but they've revised it so you're able to shut off the online searches now. So all we get to argue about is GNOME versus Unity still. So now the community is happier. You know what else makes a community happy? Linux games. Here are some titles that are scheduled to be released soon or have actually been released this month. A 3D space MMO called Urban Galaxy Online, Interstellar Marines, Receiver, and Doom 3 BFG Edition. I am totally freaking out already. And even though they're DRM free, we don't really have to worry about stealing the games because they're just so damn cheap anyway. Unless you live in China, unfortunately. What do we know about China off the top of our heads? Well, last year they had a population of 1.3 billion. They use Linux there more than any culture in the world, and 他们说中国话. So if China uses Linux so much, why would they choose to pirate so many things as opposed to using the FOSS alternative software that's practically made for their operating system? It could be the censorship, the lack of software availability. Either way, Europe and the US are teaming up to help China, especially because their main gig there is the embedded electronics industry, which would be great to expose it to the open source initiative. Piracy is a way to obtain software. That's the way the Chinese see it. So we're trying to show them a way to use free software in a business as a legal activity. The good news is the people at the Linux and Apache Foundation are helping kick off China Open Source Week, which is awesome because it's really focused on sharing your code rather than stealing programs. And really, when you think about it, who wouldn't want 1.3 billion people supporting your cause? Especially when it's so awesome. We can see some changes probably happening in 5 to 10 years. Since we're on the topic of piracy and other nefariousness, and I don't know if that's actually a word or not, Google Play? Well, there's been some really interesting and kind of scary findings in that department. Of course, there's this age-old debate that since it's harder to develop for the iPhone, they make it very restricted with certain guidelines and this, that, and the other thing. It's a lot more secure and there's a lot more quality out there, whereas Google Play and the apps developed for Android is all about quantity and not necessarily quality. To drive that point farther home, 2 universities decided to download 13,000 applications from Google Play, and the results were shocking. Not the downloading of the apps itself, of course, but the colleges were detecting vulnerabilities against man-in-the-middle attacks, which usually happens because you have too little or just plain wrong use of SSL. And when an application is vulnerable, which they found out that 41 out of 100 apps are, this gives access to your PayPal, Google accounts, credit card information, everything, you name it. I try not to subscribe to the whole Apple versus Android debate because it just makes my brain hurt, but that information was a bit shocking to me. I'd be interested to see what the data is involving the security of iPhone applications. Did you know if your phone was this safe or not? Do you feel like you're a little bit insecure as well? Let me know in a comment below, and until next time, thanks for watching OSAlt. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on next Friday's episode of All Things Open Source. Now it's time to pay my bills. My guilty pleasure, Stephen King novels. Out of 100,000 audiobooks on Audible's website, I picked the book about the evil clown to listen to at night. And I wonder why I have insomnia. All you have to do is go to audiblepodcast.com/osalt to get a free audiobook download of your choice when you sign up today. And I promise, evil clowns and cattails are totally optional.